We got some very bad news this morning. The consumer price index inflation posted at 9.1%. That's a 40-year record high. If you look at gas prices at the pump, they're at all-time record highs. American families are suffering tremendously right now. Secretary Haaland, you're responsible for granting oil and gas leases on federal land. Federal lands account for about a quarter of U.S. oil production. Yet on July 1st, despite the fact that American families are facing record high prices, your department announced that it might not issue any new offshore oil and gas leases for the next 5 years, and you limited yourself to a maximum of 11 leases. And in the process, your department said that this, quote, significantly narrowed the 47 leases proposed by the previous administration. And in support of this effort to reduce U.S. oil and gas production, you declared, and I'd like to read the quote, "From day one, President Biden and I have made clear our commitment to transition to a clean energy economy." So, Secretary Haaland, I want to ask you, at what point is this transition to a green energy economy that you and President Biden are trying to force worth making American families pay $6 a gallon at the pump?
Senator, thank you for the question. And first of all, I completely understand. I raised my kid as a single mom. It's hard, it's difficult, right? And I have had those experiences. So I want you to know that I care deeply about American families who are suffering right now. Of course, we're still coming off of a 2-year pandemic that really affected our country in so many ways. I do want you to know that the vast majority of U.S. oil and gas production occurs on private lands. Federal lands have produced more oil than any time in our history.
So you're telling me that the Biden administration is a champion of oil production here in America?
I'm just saying that because of the way the leases and permits have gone over the last several years, oil production from federal lands and waters right now is at an all-time high.
Well, I think it's important what you signal to the marketplace. Chairman Reed brought this up. American oil and gas companies are not investing right now because the environment has been terrible for them. You've created an environment here. You've sent every message since this administration took office that you will ensure, that the Biden administration will ensure that oil and gas investments do not pay off in America, killing the Keystone XL pipeline. You think about the message that comes to the industry when they find out that you're not going to allow new leases on oil and gas properties, or you're going to limit yourself to only 11 over the next 5 years at the maximum. This is sending a very bad message. What I need to understand from you is at what point does the pain that American families are feeling that you indicate you're appreciative of, is it $6 a barrel that you say, I'm going to give up this attempt to force this green new energy program and go back to maximizing oil and gas production here in America? At what point will you commit, and I'm asking you to commit, to increase oil and gas production to address the pain that American families are feeling?
Senator, I would like to also mention to you, and I've said this many times, there are 9,000 unused permits currently, permits that oil companies can use to drill that are not being used. Onshore, more than 12 million acres are under lease. Offshore, 8 million acres are under lease.
I just want to make this clear. Then you are saying that the Department of Interior under the Biden administration is championing oil and gas production here in America.
Well, I can say that because of how things have gone over the last several years, there are thousands of permits and land under lease that could be used by these companies to drill.
What we need to see to address the pain at the pump right now is an expansion of supply. You have many tools at your disposal, and as the Secretary of Interior, I'm asking you, will you commit to use every tool at your disposal to expand oil and gas production at this point, given the pain that we're suffering right now?
Senator, my job as Interior Secretary is to conserve and manage the natural resources and cultural heritage for every single American. And I said from day one that we would do that in a balanced approach. And I feel very confident that our team is looking at every at every issue, and we're working to make sure that this is a balanced approach.
Madam Secretary, you mentioned the word balance, but balance is precipitating massive pain. If you think about where gas prices were the day that your administration took office, $2.30-odd cents a gallon. We're now looking at $6 a gallon of gasoline at the pump. American families are suffering dramatically. And I'll come back and ask you again, at what point do you back off this attempt to force a transition to green energy? At what point will you use the tools at your disposal to expand oil and gas production here in America?
Senator, thank you for the question. And I know that nationally, as of July 11th, gas prices are at $4.68 a gallon. That's still incredibly high. And Senator Murkowski mentioned that in Alaska, they're a lot higher. I understand this, and I understand exactly what that means because I have been in positions like that in the past. Well,
please, I implore you to use that understanding to feel that pain and do something about it. You have the power. You control a quarter of the production lands here in America, the oil and gas leases that could be permitted. Please commit to me that you'll do everything in your power to use your authority to expand production now.
Senator, there are 9,000 unused drilling permits right now today, and millions of acres.
I've heard this statistic side. That's less than 10% of the total that we're talking about. That's a distortion. That's a distraction. I'm asking you to send the message to industry to do everything that you can to expand oil and gas production. You will not commit to doing that, Secretary?
Senator, again, I would just like to say that oil and oil production is at an all-time high on federal lands currently at this time.
What we need to see is a message to the marketplace that expands production, not constrains it. How do you explain the record high prices that we're experiencing if it were not for that? How do you explain the fact that we're no longer in a position to be a net energy exporter? How do you explain the transition from $2.30 gas to $6 a gasoline that's happened in the 18 months this administration has been in office?
Senator, thank you for the question, and we're more than happy to follow up with your office.
I'm very disappointed that you're not able to commit to the simple notion that you should use the authority that you have, Madam Secretary, to expand production now to alleviate the pain for the American public. We are suffering dramatically. Our economy is in tough shape, 9.1% inflation right now, and record high prices. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Senator Hagerty.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.